First contact. The Valkyrie warship emerged from hyperspace in a flash of emerald light, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight across Earth's atmosphere like an aurora. General Sarah Chen stood in the United Earth Defense Command Center, her dark eyes fixed on the main display as the alien vessel positioned itself in high orbit. At 53, she had witnessed humanity's first steps into the solar system, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. Multiple signals detected, General. Lieutenant Marcus Wong reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. The message came in perfect English, its delivery too precise to be natural translation. People of Earth, we come in peace as representatives of the Valkyrie Concordat. We seek diplomatic relations with your world. Chen's jaw tightened. 25 years in military intelligence had taught her that perfect translation meant long-term surveillance. The Valkyrie had been watching them, studying them, and only now chose to reveal themselves. Send our response according to first contact protocol, Chen ordered, but her mind was already racing through contingencies. She activated her neural link, sending a coded burst transmission to the Artemis base beneath the lunar surface. Initialize Ghost Protocol. Authorization, Chen, Alpha 79. The alien vessel's diplomatic shuttle descended through the atmosphere with practiced grace, landing at the designated site outside the Geneva International Complex. The gathered dignitaries watched in awe as the shuttle's crystalline hull shifted and flowed like liquid glass, forming an elegant stairway to the ground. The Valkyrie ambassador emerged, her form both beautiful and unsettling. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, her iridescent skin seemed to pulse with internal light, and her forearms moved with hypnotic grace. I am First Speaker Lyra, she announced, her voice melodious. We have watched your species' remarkable progress with great interest. President Maria Santos stepped forward, her diplomatic smile masking years of political cunning. We are honored by your presence, First Speaker. Earth welcomes peaceful contact with other civilizations. But deep beneath the lunar surface, Ghost Protocol was already in motion. In hidden chambers, quantum computers analyzed every aspect of the Valkyrie vessel, while stealth probes mapped its capabilities. Humanity had not survived centuries of war and near extinction by being naive. That evening, as the diplomatic reception continued in Geneva, Chen met with her inner circle in a secure bunker 2 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean. What have we learned? She asked her team of analysts. Dr. Raj Patel, head of Sinotechnology Research, projected a hologram of the Valkyrie ship. Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they want us to believe. The crystalline structures. They're designed to intimidate, to make them appear more sophisticated than they are. And the weaponry, Chen pressed. Hidden, but present, Colonel Maya Martinez added, highlighting several sections of the vessel. They came prepared for a fight, even while preaching peace. Chen nodded, unsurprised. And our countermeasures? Dr. Patel smiled grimly. Ready. Project Prometheus is fully operational. If they try anything. He left the sentence unfinished. As the days passed, the Valkyrie shared gifts of technology, medical advances, energy systems, and transportation innovations. Each gift was carefully chosen to appear generous while revealing nothing of their true capabilities. But what they didn't know, what their long-range surveillance had failed to detect, was that humanity had already developed far beyond the technologies being offered. In her private quarters, Chen reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Valkyrie had established diplomatic missions in 12 major cities, each one a potential foothold. Their cultural exchanges and technology-sharing programs were expanding rapidly, too rapidly for natural progression. They're mapping our infrastructure, she murmured, connecting the patterns. Every diplomatic outpost is positioned near a critical defense or power installation. She opened a secure channel to President Santos. Madam President, I believe we need to accelerate the timetable. The Valkyrie are preparing for something, and we need to be ready when they show their true intentions. Santos' hologram nodded gravely. Agreed. Authorize Phase 2 of Ghost Protocol. Let's see how our guests react when they realize they're not the only ones who can play at deception. The game was set. The Valkyrie thought they were dealing with a young, naive species eager for galactic acceptance. They were about to learn that humanity had grown up in the shadows of its own nearly achieved extinction and had learned its lessons well. What the Valkyrie saw as primitive technology was merely humanity's public face. Behind it lay quantum arsenals, dimensional shields, and weapons that could unmake stars. They had come seeking easy prey, but they had found wolves in sheep's clothing instead. The hidden edge. 3 months into the Valkyrie cultural exchange, the first signs of their true agenda began to surface. Deep within the quantum monitoring systems of Ghost Protocol, patterns emerged that set off silent alarms throughout Earth's hidden defense network. General Chen studied the holographic display in her command center beneath the Pacific. The three-dimensional representation of global communications showed countless tiny threads of light, each representing Valkyrie transmissions. But it was what lay beneath these visible communications that concerned her. "Show me the quantum layer," she commanded. The display shifted, revealing a hidden network of signals pulsing beneath the official channels. Dr. Patel's analysis team had detected them 2 weeks ago, microscopic quantum entanglement signatures that suggested a far more sophisticated communication network than the Valkyrie had admitted to possessing. "They're building something," Colonel Martinez observed, gesturing to clusters of activity around major population centers. "Each diplomatic mission is a hub for these quantum signals." "Not building," Chen corrected, her expression grim. "Mapping. They're creating a comprehensive grid of every human defense system, power station, and military installation. The kind of mapping you'd need for a precision strike." The Valkyrie's plan was becoming clear. Their diplomatic mission was an elaborate Trojan horse, designed to give them time to analyze Earth's weaknesses while appearing peaceful. What they didn't realize was that humanity had been playing the same game, but at a far deeper level. In a secured quantum vault beneath lunar Artemis Base, Dr. Emily Zhang activated the prototype quantum scanner her team had reverse-engineered from studying Valkyrie technology. The device didn't just analyze their ships. It peered into the very fabric of their technological foundation. "General." Zhang's hologram appeared in Chen's command center, her excitement barely contained. "We've cracked their base code. The crystalline technology they use. It's not just structural. It's a massive quantum computer network. Every ship, every diplomatic shuttle, every gift they've given us. They're all nodes in a vast control system." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Can we access it?" Zhang's smile was sharp. "Better. We can shut it down. The quantum interference pattern we've developed doesn't just block their signals. It causes a cascade failure in their crystalline matrices. One pulse, and their entire network goes dark." "How long until they detect our quantum scanning?" Chen asked. "They won't," Zhang replied confidently. "We're using their own technology against them, but modified through principles they haven't discovered yet. Humanity didn't just develop alternative technology paths. We found better ones." Meanwhile, in Geneva, First Speaker Lyra was growing increasingly frustrated. Every scan of human military capabilities showed the same thing. A relatively primitive species with nuclear weapons, basic energy shields, and early spaceflight capability. But something felt wrong. The humans were too confident, too calm in the face of vastly superior technology. In her private chambers, Lyra activated her secure link to the Valkyrie High Command. "The humans are hiding something," she reported. "Their visible technology is exactly what our long-range scans showed, but their behavior suggests capabilities we cannot detect." "Impossible." The High Commander's crystalline form shimmered in the hologram. "Our quantum detection systems are infallible. If they had advanced technology, we would know." "Proceed with the next phase. Begin seeding the control nodes throughout their major cities." What the Valkyrie couldn't comprehend was that humanity had learned long ago that the best defense wasn't just superior technology. It was the ability to appear harmless until the perfect moment to strike. Every primitive human installation the Valkyrie scanned was broadcasting carefully crafted false signatures, while the real technology remained invisible to their most advanced detection systems. As Valkyrie ships deployed their network of quantum control nodes around Earth, humanity's hidden sensors recorded every movement, every signal, every flaw in their supposedly perfect system. The Valkyrie thought they were laying the groundwork for their conquest. Instead, they were revealing every aspect of their military capability to an enemy they continued to underestimate. In her command center, General Chen watched the Valkyrie deployment with cold satisfaction. "Send word to all Ghost Protocol installations," she ordered. "The moment they move against us, I want every countermeasure ready. Let's show them why humanity's survival rate against extinction-level threats remains perfect." Breaking point. The Valkyrie struck at dawn, GMT. Their quantum control nodes activated simultaneously across the globe, releasing waves of crystalline nanites designed to infiltrate and corrupt Earth's electronic infrastructure. In Geneva, First Speaker Lyra shed her diplomatic facade along with her ceremonial robes, revealing battle armor that pulsed with deadly energy. "Your civilization's defiance ends today," she announced to the gathered human leaders, her voice no longer melodious but sharp with contempt. "The Valkyrie Concordat requires your world's resources, and we will have them. Surrender now, and your species will be permitted to survive as our servants." President Santos stood calmly from her seat at the diplomatic table, brushing an imaginary speck of dust from her sleeve. "I was wondering when you'd finally drop the act," she said, her voice carrying no trace of fear. "General Chen, I believe this qualifies as hostile intent. You may proceed." The Valkyrie guards raised their weapons, crystalline energy gathering at their muzzles. But before they could fire, reality itself seemed to hiccup. Every piece of Valkyrie technology in the room, from their weapons to their armor, suddenly went dark. In orbit, the massive Valkyrie warships experienced the same phenomenon. Their crystalline hulls, once shimmering with power, became dull and lifeless. Emergency systems attempted to activate, only to find their quantum networks completely severed from their control mechanisms. Deep beneath the Pacific, General Chen watched as Operation Blackout executed flawlessly. Dr. Zhang's quantum interference pulse had worked exactly as designed, targeting the fundamental frequencies of Valkyrie crystal technology with devastating precision. "Status report," Chen demanded, her voice steady despite the surge of satisfaction she felt. "All Valkyrie systems are offline," Colonel Martinez confirmed. "Their ships are dead in orbit, their ground forces are isolated, and their nano-weapon network has been neutralized before deployment." In Geneva, Lyra's battle armor had become nothing more than elaborate jewelry. She stared in disbelief at her useless weapons, then at President Santos, who hadn't moved from her relaxed position at the table. "Impossible," Lyra whispered. "Your species doesn't have this level of technology. Our scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Santos finished for her. "Did you really think humanity survived countless wars, plagues, and natural disasters by being naive? We learned long ago to keep our true capabilities hidden." Around the globe, hidden human installations emerged from their camouflage. Advanced weapon platforms rose from beneath the oceans, quantum shield generators activated around major cities, and orbital defense satellites shed their primitive disguises to reveal technology far beyond anything the Valkyrie had imagined. "Your mistake." Chen's voice echoed through every disabled Valkyrie communication device, was assuming that because we didn't show our strength, we didn't have it. Humanity doesn't advertise its power. We perfected in secret. In orbit, the true human fleet decloaked. Sleek vessels of dark metal and energy field surrounded the helpless Valkyrie ships. Unlike the crystalline aesthetics of the Valkyrie, human ships were utilitarian, designed for efficiency rather than intimidation. "This is your one warning," Chen continued. "Your weapons are disabled, your ships are powerless, and your entire invasion force is at our mercy. The choice of what happens next is yours. Lyra's face contorted with rage and disbelief. The Concordat will not bow to primitives. Our empire spans hundreds of worlds. And yet here you are, Santos interrupted, powerless in a room full of those primitives who just neutralized your entire invasion force without firing a shot. Would you like to rethink your position? In her command center, Shen watched as the Valkyrie leadership struggled with their new reality. Their perfectly planned invasion had been undone in moments by defenses they hadn't even known existed. But she also knew this wasn't over. The Valkyrie Empire was vast, and wounded pride often led to desperate actions. Maintain combat readiness, she ordered her forces. They're going to have to learn the hard way that humanity doesn't just survive threats. We eliminate them. Retribution. The Valkyrie High Command's response came 3 days later. Massive reinforcement fleets emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, led by 3 enormous dreadnoughts that dwarfed their previous warships. These vessels didn't rely solely on crystal technology. They were hybrid behemoths of metal and energy, immune to the quantum interference that had crippled their first wave. "This is High Commander Vex of the Valkyrie Concordat." The transmission boomed across all frequencies. "Your resistance was impressive, humans, but you have only seen a fraction of our true might. Surrender now, or watch your system burn." In her command center, General Chen studied the tactical display with her staff. The Valkyrie fleet was impressive. Over 300 capital ships, with thousands of smaller vessels. They had committed a significant portion of their military might to this assault. "They're afraid," Dr. Zhang observed, analyzing the energy signatures of the new fleet. "They've abandoned their normal tactical doctrine. These ships are built for pure destruction, not conquest." Chen nodded. "Fear makes them predictable. Execute Protocol Omega." Across the solar system, humanity's full defensive network activated. The asteroid belt came alive as mining stations revealed themselves to be weapon platforms. Mars colonies shed their disguises, showing hardened military bases, and from behind Jupiter emerged humanity's own dreadnoughts, 5 massive vessels that had been hidden in the gas giant's storms. Message from President Santos. Lieutenant Wang reported, "We have authorization for full military response." Chen opened a channel to all human forces. "All units, execute Operation Starfall. Show them why humanity hasn't faced extinction in 10,000 years of trying." The battle began with a Valkyrie advance toward Earth. Their fleet moved in traditional combat formation, energy weapons charging. But humanity had spent decades preparing for exactly this scenario. The first surprise came from the lunar surface. Quantum accelerators, hidden beneath the regolith, fired salvos of dark matter projectiles. The exotic particles passed through the Valkyrie shields as if they didn't exist, ripping through their hulls with devastating precision. "Impossible." High Commander Vex's voice cracked with disbelief. "No species at your development level should have dark matter weaponry." "You still don't understand," Chen replied calmly. "We showed you what we wanted you to see. Nothing more." The human fleet moved with perfect coordination, their ships linked by an AI battle network far more sophisticated than anything the Valkyrie possessed. Each vessel's quantum computers calculated billions of possible tactical outcomes per second, adapting their strategy in real time. From Jupiter, the human dreadnoughts unleashed their main weapons. Beams of concentrated gravitational force twisted space itself, creating localized singularities that tore Valkyrie ships apart. The asteroid belt platforms added their firepower, electromagnetic pulses designed specifically to overload the hybrid systems of the new Valkyrie vessels. "Your empire spans hundreds of worlds," Chen transmitted to the Valkyrie command. "Ours spans just one system, but we've spent centuries preparing to defend it against exactly this kind of threat. Last chance to withdraw." The Valkyrie response was predictable. They charged forward, bringing their dreadnoughts into range. Energy beams capable of cracking planets lashed out at Earth, only to splash harmlessly against quantum shields that phased the attacks into parallel dimensions. All units, Chen ordered, execute final phase. Show them the price of threatening humanity. The human counterattack was devastating. Swarms of autonomous combat drones emerged from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Unlike traditional weapons, these machines were guided by advanced AI that could predict and counter Valkyrie tactics before they executed them. The Valkyrie fleet found itself fighting an enemy that seemed to know their every move in advance. Human weapons struck at vulnerabilities they didn't know they had, using principles of physics they hadn't discovered. Their mighty dreadnoughts, pride of the Concordat, were systematically dismantled by forces they couldn't even detect. "This is your final warning," Chen transmitted as the battle turned into a rout. "Your fleet is in ruins. Your invasion has failed. The next phase will not be targeted at your military assets, but at the heart of your empire itself." In the command center, Dr. Zhang approached with new data. "The quantum scans are complete. We've mapped their entire FTL network. We can strike any world in their empire at will." Chen nodded grimly. "Send the data to the dreadnoughts. If they don't surrender in the next hour, we'll show them why species that threaten Earth tend to disappear from the galaxy entirely." New dawn. The quantum countdown reached 0. High Commander Vex had spent the hour frantically consulting with the Concordat's ruling council, watching in horror as human forces methodically destroyed his fleet. The decision came with seconds to spare. "This is High Commander Vex of the Valkyrie Concordat." His transmission carried none of his earlier arrogance. We submit to your terms. The Concordat surrenders unconditionally." In the United Earth Defense Command Center, General Chen allowed herself a small smile. "A wise choice, Commander. Hold position. Our diplomatic vessels will arrive shortly to discuss the terms of your surrender." The aftermath of what would become known as the Seoul Defense War reshaped galactic politics forever. The Valkyrie Concordat, once a dominant power across hundreds of worlds, found itself forced to adapt to a new reality, one where humanity was recognized not as a primitive species to be conquered, but as a force to be deeply respected and, more importantly, feared. 1 month after the surrender, President Santos stood before the United Nations, addressing not just humanity but representatives from a dozen alien civilizations who had hurriedly sent diplomats after witnessing the Valkyrie defeat. "The age of hiding our true capabilities is over," she declared. "Humanity kept its advances secret not out of fear, but out of prudence. We developed in shadows because history taught us that visible strength invites challenge. But now, having demonstrated our power, we choose to step into the light, not as conquerors, but as guardians of peace." In the following weeks, humanity began sharing select technologies with both the Valkyrie and other spacefaring races. But it wasn't their advanced weapons or defensive systems that truly shocked the galactic community. It was the revelation of how humanity had achieved such developments. Dr. Zhang found herself hosting delegations of alien scientists, explaining the unique path of human technological evolution. "We never focused on a single line of development," she explained to an audience of stunned xenotechnologists. "Where you perfected crystal computing, we explored quantum systems. Where you mastered energy weapons, we investigated dark matter manipulation. Our strength lies not in any single technology, but in our ability to imagine and explore multiple solutions to every challenge." The Valkyrie, under the terms of surrender, underwent significant changes. Their empire transformed into a confederation of autonomous worlds, with Earth providing oversight to ensure peaceful development. But perhaps the most profound change was cultural. First Speaker Lyra, now serving as a liaison between her people and humanity, sat in General Chen's office 6 months after the surrender. "We've studied your history extensively now," she admitted. "We thought your constant wars and conflicts were signs of primitiveness. We never understood they were forging you into something far more formidable than we could imagine." Chen nodded. "Every crisis humanity faced taught us something. We learned to prepare without provocation, to advance without advertising, and to strike without warning when threatened. But most importantly, we learned to offer mercy when victory was achieved. The implications of humanity's emergence extended far beyond military considerations. Earth's markets were open to galactic trade, but with careful controls to prevent economic warfare. Human diplomatic missions were established throughout known space, not to conquer or control, but to ensure that no species would ever again mistake humanity's discretion for weakness. 5 years after the war, the Sol system had become the center of a new galactic order. The massive defense platforms remained, now serving as a reminder rather than a secret. Human ships patrolled trade routes, keeping peace where once the Valkyrie had demanded tribute. And in universities across 1,000 worlds, students studied the lesson that the Concordat had learned too late. Humanity's greatest weapon was never their advanced technology or military might. It was their capacity to appear harmless while building the strength to defend themselves against any threat. They had perfected the art of strategic deception not through malice, but through necessity. In her final address before retiring, General Chen spoke to a graduation class at the newly established Galactic Defense Academy. The greatest victory, she told the assembled cadets from dozens of species, including many young Valkyrie, is not the one achieved through overwhelming force. It is the one achieved through foresight, preparation, and the wisdom to know when to reveal your strength. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had stepped onto the cosmic stage, not as conquerors, but as protectors. They had defeated the Valkyrie Concordat, not because they were inherently superior, but because they had never stopped preparing for the moment when they would need to defend themselves. And in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations took note. Humanity had revealed itself as a sleeping giant, one that had dreamed of the stars while forging itself into their guardian. The message was clear. Earth was not to be underestimated, for behind its peaceful exterior lay the power to reshape the very fabric of space-time itself, and the wisdom to use that power with restraint.